welcome to lectures by Professor Shilpa Khatri Babbar. Today's lecture is from the perspective of Roscoe Pound. How does he visualize lawyers as social engineers? The classical scholars of sociology dealt with law on the basis of their respective theoretical perspectives. This was followed by scholars, especially in Europe, who sought to develop a distinctly sociological approach to law in the earlier half of the 20th century. After the Second World War, a sociological movement in law emerged, especially in the United States of America, which sought to lay down a tradition of sociological jurisprudence and other perspectives of legal scholarship informed by social science in order to articulate an interest in the effects of law on society, and conversely, the influences of social events on substantive and procedural aspects of law. Attention was on the societal context of law, beyond the technical confines of legal training, though their systematic grounding in sociology or in other social sciences was not very apparent. Historically speaking, then, the sociological jurisprudence came as early as, say, somewhere around 1960s as an early precursor to the sociology of law. Talking about sociological jurisprudence, though of course established by Roscoe Pound, the sociological jurisprudence should be seen as an extension of the legal thought of an American jurist, Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr., who had formulated a conception of law as reflecting a nation's development. He rejected the doctrine of legal formalism that dominated American legal thought existing then, which held law to be an law to be independent from the variable forms of its surrounding social institutions, and saw the development of law as subjected only to logic. Holmes argued that the legal judgment are actually influenced by assumptions and preconceptions on the part of the judges. The life of the law, he said, has not been logic, it has been experience. And writing against a legal formalism, Holmes argues that the law is a reflection of a nation's development. Now, moving on to Roscoe Pound, though Holmes' judicial theories did play a major role in shaping the American traditions of sociological jurisprudence and also legal realism, but the perspective of sociological jurisprudence was systematically developed by Roscoe Pound, who actually coined the term sociological jurisprudence to refer to a new stage in the development of jurisprudential perspectives. The emphasis in sociological jurisprudence is on the actual workings of law, not merely on legal doctrine and law internal theory. Pound phrases this difference in perspective in the now very famous distinction between law in action and law in books. Pound argues that this differentiation is brought about by a general lag of law relative to social conditions. The failure of legal thought to take into account advances in social sciences, maybe also due to the rigidity of legislations and the defects in the administration of law, that actually these two the concepts came out, law in action and law in book. From the viewpoint of sociological jurisprudence, legal decisions must be investigated for the effects which they bring about and the conditions under which they do so in terms of social, economic, and political development of society. Rather than setting up a closed, self sufficient jurisprudence on the basis of legal principles, sociological jurisprudence seeks to study how the law ought to be adapted to adequately responding to changes which happens or take place in the societal conditions. Law is thereby conceived as a means to an end, and not in terms of what its ends would be, what the goal would be, but rather as means to a particular end. Now, with the respect to the end of law, what would be the goal of law? Pound argues that law is a form of social control and defined it as the ordering of human relations in a politically organized society in terms of the fulfillment of claims, demands, and desires which both people individually as well as a collective they seek to satisfy. Now, Pound conceives of the objectives in fact of law, more specifically in terms of a theory of social interests, of which he differentiates six categories. A, the general security, such as physical safety and health of the population. B, the security of institutions, such as those in the realm of politics, economy, and religion. C, moral standards of behavior. D, the conservation of social resources. E, economic and political progress. F, and the last, individual life and rights. Now, it is to be noted that the last, that's the individual rights, in Pound's understanding, form only one element among the social interests which law must fulfill, thus, somewhere or the other, transcending the individualistic conception of rights and duties which dominated American law and jurisprudence. As a means of social control, law must give concrete expression to social interests and offer reconciliation when conflicting interests arise. Judicial decisions in this sense contribute to the maintenance of the social order as a form of social engineering. Now, scholarly differences between sociological jurisprudence on the one hand and sociology of law on the other hand were recognized and respected by Roscoe Pound. And in fact, in an interesting article titled Sociology of Law and Sociological Jurisprudence, Pound observes that sociology of law proceeds from within sociology to law, whereas sociological jurisprudence operates in the reverse direction, that is, as a form of jurisprudence from within law. Now, Pound notes that these differences in perspectives are rooted in a fundamental difference between the respective objectives of the two subjects, that is, sociology and jurisprudence. Whereas sociology is primarily theoretical or research oriented, jurisprudence is practically oriented at contributing to resolve legal problems. So, Pound argues that sociological jurisprudence actually faces a very interesting dilemma. It faces a very interesting difficulty in acceptance from both from jurisprudence as well as from sociology alike. The dilemma or the difficulty in acceptance from jurisprudence lies in the fact that it deviates from the formal system of law and the legal doctrine also. While in terms when compared with sociology, it is denied acceptance or there is difficulty in acceptance for having a practical orientation and engagement in formulation of value judgments. However, despite these differences, there is no denial of the core point of our lecture, which says that lawyers have been a very significant agent of social change, as well as have been a very significant agent of social engineering. Thank you so much for your time, and we shall continue with this series. Take care and keep learning.